Shank and Kylie DeBerg. Ellie Shank partnering up with Gabby Bailey this year, eliminated earlier in the match, so we're going to crown a new champion here.
Yes, we are.
And it's TCU back to serve.
And you see TCU coming out really aggressive on the serve into the wind. TCU is currently on the good side, so they're going to serve a little bit more aggressively into the wind at Stanford.
Rockwell pushing Camille deep, sticking with her on the service pressure, on the chase. Just a little bit high. With the win, you got to play that close one. So we saw yesterday, unfortunately, Skylar German from FSU calling it out, and it flew intact inside the line, and it was so unfortunate. So today, we've seen the wind shift into the side of TCU right now. Have to play those balls that are close.
Absolutely. And at this level, these athletes are so capable of siding out and being terminal that you do want to play anything that's close. If you're not sure, you'll see that if the athletes are not sure, you'll see that they're playing most of these balls.
And wind pretty chill, except when it gusts, and then you get a big gust. Yeah. And it could be right in the middle of your rally, and it could swirl here in Huntsville.
And that's what these athletes will adjust to as well. They'll have the wherewithal in those moments to feel that the wind is picking up and adjust their contacts if they need to put the ball a little higher, a little lower, a little tighter, whatever the case may be.
Tempo set, not a good connection on that one in particular for Zolani Hodel, but it'll be Haley Hamlet, back to serve. Working Hodel, but it's tight, so Rockwell can go on too.
And she just elevates.
I know, she's a little jumping bean. And you know what, you were talking earlier before, she makes that number one body position.
Absolutely.
Arms straight up like a diver or a stick. She doesn't lean, she jumps perfectly up, maximizing her entire reach. I mean, she's only standing at 5'9". She looks like she's 6'4", 6'5" when she's contacting that ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And when she's able to jump straight up and down, it keeps her in alignment. So it really robs the defense of being able to read what her tendency or what she's most likely to do.
Rockwell running the back. Nice step close.
Little collision.
Recovered.
Okay, there we go.
I don't know what happened because it was right
there. On set number 2.
Oh, the ball just got taken by the wind, and it went about a foot or two further than Hamlet expected it to go.
Looking to make a nice overhead attack, which is kind of the right thing you do.
100%.
You want to be aggressive. It's kind of like doing a jump serve. However, it changed, and she tried to save it, and it got a little stuck.
Always adjusting.
Little trickle serve for an ace. Stanford notches up another point here and takes a 5-3 lead.
There we go. So we do see the wind right now playing a big role in this service strategy for both teams. So TCU is back on the end line. They were trying to serve really deep and push the service passers back. Right now we see Zolani using some of the shorter balls and letting the ball dance in the wind.
Switching sides. Nice save there by Camille. And almost a pump fake. Yeah, are we playing basketball, Zolani Hodel? Because that's what it looked like there.
Yep, absolutely. She probably saw the defender take off to her line and was able to drop her thumb and turn it back to her cross, dropping it into that cut shot.
And that's why she represents USA
Absolutely.
on the World Tour.
Absolutely.
She gives herself enough time to make that decision in the air.
And I don't think people realize how hard it is to see the defense. I think we'll have parents all the time that's like, there's only 2 people over there. Just hit it where they're not. And the athletes say, no, they're moving at all times. And so having that vision as an attacker is very challenging.
Especially when it's windy.
Especially when it's windy.
Nice pass by Rockwell. Good set. She rips it on that sharp angle inside the hands of the blocker.
I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing from Rockwell right now is that she is swinging. So what we saw her doing a little bit in that last set of shooting a little bit more, trying to find those high lines, she's decided to come with the power this game.
Nice service, ace, dropping with the win right in front of Camille. And although Stanford is the 14th seed here and TCU is the first seed, I think it's based on the points kind of coming in. And Zolani, a more veteran, she's a senior, but she's picking up a freshman.
Right.
So freshman not having a lot of points, didn't compete last year. So I don't want to say a miss-seeded because they worked their way through it, but knocking out the number 2 seed.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really neat, all the different rating systems that are evolving in the college space right now. We've had College Beach VB, which has been very much the leader for a lot of our college teams in trying to come up with some individual ranking systems, some team ranking systems, and Mike Pawchek has done a phenomenal job with that. And now we're starting to lean towards this True Volley database, which is taking all of the information from professional level, from college level, from junior level, and also from international. So that's where we see a lot of Zolani's points coming in, and probably Camille as well. They will both have a lot of international points, which is going to have more value than coming out of the juniors tour. And so with the point system right now, you absolutely have a veteran player pairing with a freshman, and the points are going to continue to evolve. So after this event, I'm guessing that Brooke is going to have a few more points.
Absolutely. But it's a strategy we've seen actually with the Brazilian Volleyball Federation. You know, at the beginning of a quad, they take a veteran beach athlete, put a young up-and-comer together to marry that experience and sharpen and quicken that learning. And this is what Stanford is doing right here with their senior-freshman combination.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think there's a good chance that we see this duo as a pair for Stanford in the spring, and there's a great chance that they are both playing with different people, too.
Mill out of lane 2, working that sharp angle. Inside set, finding the outside lines. Mill wanted to make sure we gave a shout out to all of her family in Ukraine for tuning in. Lots of love and hugs to you guys.
It's incredible of these athletes that are willing to come to America to play some college beach volleyball and taking such big distances from their families.
Nice step close from Hodel. A little bit slow enough for Hamlet to chase. Tight set. But it's Rockwell winning it.
Rockwell is so calm under the pressure and is so deliberate with her steps and her movements. I think it's really interesting, again, being able to sit here. You can hear Zolani and Brooke talking to each other. You can hear Camille and Haley speaking to each other at all times. Like, there's constant conversation.
And such high-level technical training from Brooke Rockwell. She grew up in Arkansas.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's all over the country now. This high-level quality, playing at Stanford. You don't need to live on the coast anymore.
You do not. You do not. That, I think, is one of our favorite questions at Georgia State. We're in downtown Atlanta, and people are like, where's the beach? I'm like, well, it turns out it's not water volleyball. It is just beach volleyball. You can put sand anywhere. Like here in Huntsville, right? This is a beautiful facility, incredible sand. And
15 courts.
15 courts,
all
yeah.
in action right now as we watch this final. Big step close again, using the block, tooling it to the outside is Rockwell.
And it's interesting, the wind has died down just a little bit. So for this last side change, the wind has not been as much of a factor in the serving strategy for TCU.
Jump float, scratches it outside. It is 11-7 in favor of Stanford. TCU took set number 1, 21-17. Camille back to serve. Nice footwork from Zolani on the set. Joust at the net, won by Zolani.
It's incredible as we're watching this replay how high above the net these athletes are playing right now. We see that a lot, like on the men's game, for example. The net is not that much of a factor in those equations. In the women's net, it's a little bit more of a factor in the equation. For these athletes, they're playing so high above the net. It's really impressive to see, especially at the end of 3 long days of playing and jumping.
Hamlet with the assist, just out of bounds. And Brooke Rockwell is actually the shortest listed athlete here. 5'9" for her. Everyone else at Hamlet, 5'11". Camille at 6 foot and Hodel at 6'1". They're all skying though.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
you
not
said.
really a jumper sand either.
Exactly. And it is like you said, these women are playing like they are 6'4".
Yeah. Sharp angle there, and we switch sides. It's 13-7. Stanford in the lead here in set number 2. Tell me a little bit about what we're going to see, and we come back from this technical timeout.
So coming back out of the technical timeout, it will be interesting to see what the wind does first and foremost. So we definitely saw an advantage for the team. I don't know what, on the left side of the court, there's an inline wind right now. And so if that wind continues to pick up, I think a lot of these decisions are going to be based on the wind. What we've seen so far is that TCU is serving the ball high and deep into the wind, and Stanford was serving the ball more low and short into the wind. So very opposite strategies. I think if the wind dies down, again, we're going to look at people coming back out and trying to run some spread offenses and creating some space where the athletes are going to be able to take some big swings.
Absolutely. And it is heating up right here in Huntsville, Alabama. It is the Rocket City. Thank you for joining us here on VBTV. I'm Megan Bergdorf alongside Beth Van Fleet, head coach at Georgia State, with all the insight on the coaching side and also the development of the sport of beach volleyball. You contribute a lot to it. You're on the committee. You brought this concept alive here in Huntsville. What does that mean to you to see it play out here today?
It's incredible. And I am so honored that I get to be part of all of this. But the committees that has been put together to create this is everybody is just showing up and working so hard to foresee any problems that are going to happen and make this absolutely the best experience that these athletes could imagine. I think one of the biggest pushes whenever we're speaking to each other is like, hey, how do we make it a little bit better? How do we make it a little more efficient? How can we make this experience for the athletes something that everybody wants to aspire to compete at?
And I think we're doing that right here. We're creating history.
I'm hoping so.
And we're back in action. Stanford on the reception. Big swing, but out of bounds. No touch.
And a great serve, really, to start off that rally. TCU is going to push here to earn some points on this side, and definitely trying to win this side change as they're trying to creep back into this game.
Hamlet, nice redirectional block up there by Camille.
And it's really hard to see, but if you watch Haley's hand on her contact as she's serving this ball, she's really using a lot of wrist action. So she's turning it at the last second, which is making it much harder for Brooke to read.
And that ball goes just a little long in the direction that the wind is blowing, so probably wind assisting the depth of that ball.
It's really interesting. I think something that we don't see so much at the international level that we see a lot at the college level is what Zolani and Brooke just did. Haley was able to get 2 points off of Brooke, so they switched sides. And that's something that we see a lot in the college space, is a lot of versatility. People aren't necessarily married to being the left side or the right side, and so they can solve problems by changing sides.
And I think that flexibility of an athlete being able to step into both is a feature of the fall season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the fall, as coaches, you're pairing your players up with every other person on the team that they can possibly play with come spring.
Rockwell out of the middle, lane 3, rips it back down to the right. Nice swing by her.
It is, and that is such a great play when you can get the right side player to come out of the 3 zone and get that blocker to pull and attack. If you don't give the blocker time to stop, you've got a lot of space to score.
Hodel, she does serve quite.
It's a very low serve. Yeah. She's had a couple that have trickled over and a couple that have just hit low, and I think when you've got the reps and the confidence to do that, it's more power to her if that's something that she's able to do to score.
Hamlet bringing some heat on the jump top spin. That is a sharp angle.
Such a sharp angle, and it looks like she's just going to hit line.
I thought she was hitting line too. What a sell. And when I was talking to Jaden Whitmarsh yesterday, she was saying it's so hard, again, as you elevate through this competition, because as a defender, you have to hold and respect the hard-driven hit first.
Absolutely.
And it comes out way more often than it does maybe in the earlier rounds of the competition. She's like, it's almost impossible to chase that down.
Yeah, that one I would probably say not repeatable, but I'm pretty sure Brooke is going to repeat it.
Yeah. She seems very comfortable, and as a freshman.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
a veteran.
That's something that Andrew is certainly noticing too, is the poise and the confidence in these moments. you learn so much about who you are as an athlete. As a coach, you learn so much about how your players are going to respond to failure, to success, to perceived pressure, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Camille working Zolani's sideline. She steps into the middle with a big dynamic right foot to ball. Puts it away.
Yeah, Zolani is really coming out of the middle a lot more now. I think she's trying to open up the four corners. Oftentimes you'll hear coaches talk about coming out of the middle with only two people. They can only take away two of the corners. If you attack at the antenna in the 1 or the 5, there's really only 3 corners that are open. So you have a little bit more of an advantage if you can come out of the middle and really be offensive.
Nice shot by Brooke, but scooped by Hamlet. Opportunity for her. No one at the net, and she puts it away. Glasses come flying off there.
Such a big swing. Such a big swing. And what a set from Camille to set that play up.
And so, Beth, you work a lot with the national team, with a lot of juniors, at your camps and clinics. What's something that a junior athlete could really work on to distinguish themselves in the recruiting process?
Yeah, man, that's such a great question, and there's so many different things. I think, for junior athletes to really try to be who they are and showcase not just their volleyball skills, but who they are as a person, because a lot of these college programs are looking for the quality of character as well as the level of athleticism. And so from a skill-specific perspective, we often just say you cannot be too good at passing, you cannot be too good at serving. And when you see athletes who really take a lot of pride in that craft and developing that, those are the humans that you see when they get to the college level really start to gain some ground.
And Lena Camille smoking it down the middle back, takes her back to the service line. And lifting off towards that sideline is that serve.
Yeah, that was interesting. That really just floated right out of Zolani's space. That was a great, very well located serve.
And they close the gap to just 2. 16 serving 18 now. Must win set for Stanford to stay alive and move into a tiebreak match. 30 called, which is a tempo set in the middle, recovered by TCU. Got a touch on it, just out of reach for Rockwell. Nice scramble play by both sides, and we switch sides at 17-18.
It's really interesting as teams have a bit of a spread in the score, as the other team starts kind of chipping away at some of those points, to watch the body language of the athletes and to see how they're communicating with each other. In these moments, you absolutely want to exude confidence, and you want to be able to know, hey, I can go back to this to score right now.
I think Hector wants to play.
Hector always wants to play. I don't know if you've seen him warm up with his team. Hector is active and very engaged. I actually think he might go take the ball from her.
Joined by Maho, their assistant coach in the coach's box. Andrew Fuller for Stanford in theirs. Zolani, as predicted, out of the middle, rips it down the line in the direction of her approach and body alignment.
Yeah, Maho and Hector have been an incredible team guiding TCU for the last couple of years. They've really put together an incredible program with a lot of big recruits coming in and
using
really
the
pushing the
transfer
level.
portal a lot.
Absolutely.
Camille with a nice pass. Sharp angle, diving block with Zolani Hodel, just out of reach.
And Camille really continues to hit those sharp angles. And I think Stanford is trying to figure out which kind of defensive system is going to take that away from her, because she's hitting it so sharp.
Yeah, you saw that in her matchup with UCLA inside of Newberry, and it looked almost effortless. The ball was crossing so far across the net, even a diving angle block wouldn't have gotten it.
You need like a diving double, like a double diving angle block.
Nice shot, picked up by Hamlet. Off the block, but that is a monster block by Zolani Hodel.
Absolutely, it was a great scoop by Hamlet, reading that high line and then coming in, taking that swing. Zolani absolutely pressing over the net.
And it brings us to set point for Stanford. Advantage, though, to TCU. They have their first opportunity to side out here out of serve receive. Can they handle it? Running the back set. Going angle. Rockwell with a nice dig. Pops up. Big step close. Off-tempo shot scooped. The poke right in between the block and defender. They were both on the line. Just nicely executed. And Camilla's used to that. She plays on the World Tour. She won the European Championships. The U20s.
Yeah, the amount of volleyball that she has played to get to this point, I think allows her to be so steady in these moments. It'll be interesting to see now coming out of this if Brooke is going to take a swing, because that's what was really effective for her early on in this game, and we've seen the last couple of swings have been shots. So we'll see. And they go at Solani.
Calm pass. Solani off the net. Trickle over. Easy shot to the honeypot. To the honeypot.
Little miscommunication on that defensive read.
And that is set number 2, 21-19. We are headed to our tie break third set match.